when I first saw you with your smile so tender.
1960 was a turning point for rock and roll. The 50s had planted the seeds, but this new decade was ready to watch them bloom into something bigger.
Well, come right into me.
Elvis was back from the army. New voices were emerging from street corners and small studios.
It's fantastic. You see, country music was always a part of the influence on my type of music anyway.
The sound was evolving, and audiences couldn't get enough. The songs that sold millions in 1960 shaped everything that came after. They built the foundation for the British invasion and the Summer of Love still years away. These are the 10 best-selling rock songs from 1960, the year that proved rock and roll was here to stay forever. 10. Wild One. Bobby Rydell was a Philadelphia teenager with a voice that could melt hearts and move feet simultaneously.
No wonder my happy heart sings.
Wild One captured that youthful energy perfectly, a declaration of romantic rebellion that connected with young listeners who felt misunderstood by their parents.
I'll make you a settle down. Now, wild one.
The song bounced with an optimism that made everything feel possible. The production was clean and punchy with a rhythm section that drove the track forward relentlessly.
Over here in America, as you know, Dick, they record everything with, a certain amount of echo, which makes everything sound good. The singer, the band, and the...
Rydell's vocal delivery balanced swagger with sweetness in ways that appealed to both teenage girls and their skeptical mothers. He seemed dangerous enough to be exciting, but safe enough to bring home for dinner. Wild One climbed to number 2 on the Billboard charts and sold over 1 million copies. Rydell became one of the biggest teen idols of the early 60s, appearing on television and in movies while maintaining his recording success. The Philadelphia sound he represented would influence pop music for years to come. The track proved that rock and roll could be polished without losing its rebellious spirit. Sometimes the wildest ones clean up nicely. 9. Let's Think About Living. Bob Luman arrived with a clever twist on the death songs dominating country and rock radio.
When are you gonna want me? You gonna want me bad?
Let's Think About Living poked fun at all those tragic ballads about car crashes, drowning lovers, and teenage funerals.
We've lost most all of our happy people, and I'm a-wondering why. Let's think about living.
Luman suggested that maybe, just maybe, singers could try being happy for a change. The song was funny without being mean about it. Luman name-checked specific tragedy hits while offering an alternative perspective.
And singers, here's one now. Bob Luman.
His delivery was warm and inviting rather than mocking. He wasn't attacking other artists. He was simply pointing out that life had some good parts too. Let's Think About Living reached number 7 on the pop charts and crossed over to country audiences as well.
Let's think about loving. Let's think about the hooping and the hopping and the bopping and the lovey-dovey.
The novelty approach worked because Luman had genuine talent backing up the humor. His rockabilly roots gave the track authentic credibility that pure comedy records often lacked. The success proved audiences were ready for something lighter after years of dramatic death ballads. Sometimes the best response to darkness is a well-timed joke. 8. Walkin' to New Orleans. Fats Domino had been making hits throughout the 50s and showed no signs of slowing down when Walkin' to New Orleans arrived in 1960. The song was a gentle stroll compared to his earlier rockers, a wistful journey home after love fell apart somewhere far away. That rolling piano style remained unmistakable.
Fats, you've got fantastic jewelry on, and a gassy shirt and outfit, but it wasn't always like that, was it?
The arrangement was lush with strings that added emotional weight without overwhelming the performance. Fats sang about walking all the way back to Louisiana because that's where his heart truly belonged. The homesickness in his voice felt genuine and deeply personal. Walkin' to New Orleans climbed to number 6 on the pop charts and reminded everyone why Fats Domino mattered so much to rock and roll's development. His New Orleans sound had influenced countless artists who came after him. This track showed he could adapt to changing tastes while maintaining his essential identity. The song endured as one of his signature recordings, proof that going home never goes out of style. 7. Finger Poppin' Time. Hank Ballard had already written The Twist, but watched Chubby Checker take that song to number 1. Finger Poppin' Time was his consolation prize.
Hey, baby, come along with me. Hey, 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 baby.
A dance track that captured some of the same energy even if history remembers it less vividly. The groove was irresistible and the party atmosphere was contagious. Ballard's voice carried the excitement of a man who genuinely loved making people move. The Midnighters provided tight backing that emphasized rhythm over everything else. This wasn't music for sitting quietly. This demanded physical response from anyone within earshot. Finger Poppin' Time reached number 7 on the pop charts and established Ballard as a hitmaker in his own right, despite losing the twist to another performer.
I feel so good, and that's a real good sign.
The song represented everything great about early 60s R&B, that perfect blend of joy and groove that made dancing feel necessary rather than optional. Ballard never received proper credit for his contributions to rock history. Finger Poppin' Time deserves recognition as a genuine classic. 6. Running Bear. Johnny Preston scored one of the most unusual hits of 1960 with Running Bear.
Waiting on the other side in the moonlight.
A tragic love story set among Native American characters. The song told of 2 young lovers from warring tribes who drowned together rather than live apart. It was Romeo and Juliet with tomahawks and rivers. The production featured backing vocals that chanted throughout the track, creating an atmosphere unlike anything else on radio. The Big Bopper wrote the song before his death in the 1959 plane crash that also killed Buddy Holly. Running Bear became a posthumous tribute to his songwriting talent. The track reached number 1 and stayed there for 3 weeks, selling millions of copies worldwide. Preston's sincere delivery made the tragic story feel genuinely moving rather than exploitative.
Good is lovely, Indian-made little white dove.
Audiences connected with the doomed romance regardless of its somewhat stereotypical setting. Running Bear remained one of the biggest hits of the entire year, proving that storytelling still mattered in rock and roll. 5. Handyman. Jimmy Jones delivered smooth sophistication with Handyman.
Sweet face, you tell all your friends, they'll come running to me.
A song offering romantic repair services with charm and confidence. The falsetto vocal was stunning, reaching heights that most male singers couldn't dream of touching. Jones made those high notes sound effortless and natural. The lyrics used home improvement as a metaphor for fixing broken hearts. Jones positioned himself as the solution to romantic problems, someone who could make everything work again with the right touch. The approach was clever without being too cute about it. Handyman climbed to number 2 on the Billboard charts and showcased a style that would influence later soul and R&B artists significantly. Jones had trained in doo-wop groups and brought that vocal precision to his solo material. Every note landed exactly where it belonged. The song has been covered numerous times, including a hit version by James Taylor in 1977.
Hey girls, gather round, listen to what...
The original remains the definitive take, a masterclass in vocal control and romantic persuasion. 4. Save the Last Dance for Me. The Drifters created pure magic with Save the Last Dance for Me.
Save the last dance for me. Baby, don't you know I love you so?
A song that turned potential jealousy into confident romance. The narrator tells his partner to enjoy the party, dance with anyone she wants, and have a wonderful time. Just remember who's taking her home at the end of the night. Benny King's lead vocal was warm and reassuring rather than possessive or controlling. The Latin-tinged rhythm added sophistication that elevated the track above typical pop fare. The whole production felt elegant and mature in ways that distinguished it from teenage rock and roll. Save the Last Dance for Me topped the charts for 3 weeks and became one of the most beloved songs of the entire era.
But don't forget who's taking you home, and in his arms you're gonna be.
Doc Pomus wrote the lyrics while confined to a wheelchair, watching his wife dance with other men at their wedding. That personal pain transformed into universal beauty. The track proved that vulnerability could be more powerful than aggression in popular music. 3. Kathy's Clown. The Everly Brothers reached their commercial peak with Kathy's Clown.
I die each time I hear this sound.
a song that showcased their legendary harmonies against a dramatic arrangement that felt massive coming out of radio speakers. Don and Phil Everly sang about romantic humiliation with voices that blended so perfectly they seemed like a single instrument. The production featured a marching drum pattern that gave the track military precision and emotional weight. The brothers had left their original label and needed a hit to prove their new deal was worthwhile. Kathy's Clown delivered beyond anyone's expectations. The song spent 5 weeks at #1 and became the biggest selling single the Everly Brothers ever released.
I die each time I hear this sound.
The harmonies influenced everyone from the Beatles to Simon and Garfunkel, artists who openly credited Don and Phil as essential teachers in their musical education. Kathy's Clown represented the absolute peak of rock and roll harmony singing. Nobody has ever matched what those brothers achieved together. 2. It's Now or Never. Elvis Presley returned from military service with It's Now or Never.
It's now, never, hold me tight.
A dramatic ballad based on the Italian song O Sole Mio. The track showcased vocal range and emotional depth that surprised listeners expecting more typical rock and roll fare. Elvis was announcing that he had grown up while serving his country. The arrangement built from intimate opening verses to a powerful climax that demonstrated just how commanding Elvis could be when given proper material. This wasn't the hip-shaking rebel of a few years earlier. This was a mature artist staking claim to territory beyond teenage rock.
I can't walk on because I love you too much.
It's Now or Never became the biggest selling single of Elvis Presley's entire career. The track spent 5 weeks at #1 and eventually sold over 20 million copies worldwide. Critics who had dismissed Elvis as a passing fad were forced to reconsider their position. The song proved Elvis could be whatever he wanted to be. His talent had no ceiling. 1. Are You Lonesome Tonight? Elvis dominated 1960 so completely that he claims both top positions on this list. Are You Lonesome Tonight was something different from anything he had released before.
Are you lonesome tonight? Will you miss me?
A tender spoken word passage in the middle, surrounded by one of his most vulnerable vocal performances. The King was showing his sensitive side. The song dated back to 1926, but Elvis made it feel timeless and immediate.
Does your memory stray to a brighter sun?
His delivery on the spoken section referenced Shakespeare while expressing genuine heartache that connected with millions of listeners. The production was sparse compared to his usual recordings, letting emotion carry everything. Are You Lonesome Tonight reached #1 and stayed there for 6 weeks, becoming another massive seller that cemented Elvis as the dominant force in popular music. The track showed artistic ambition that went beyond simple entertainment. Elvis was creating art that would outlast trends and fads. The song remains one of his most requested recordings decades after his death. Some questions never stop being asked, and that's our countdown of the best-selling rock songs from 1960. The year belonged to Elvis, but plenty of other artists left their marks on a changing musical landscape. Which track brings back the strongest memories for you? Drop your thoughts in the comments, smash subscribe, and I'll see you next time.